You are never alone. You are never alone. Just reach into your heart and Allah is always there. You are never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Family Issues. In the last episode, we talked about how at-talaq or divorce is أبغض الحلال عند الله إن أبغض الحلال عند الله الطلاق. The worst of halal doings is divorce, and how it is important for the parents, the father and the mother, the husband and wife, to try to prevent this from happening at all costs, so as to save their children, to save themselves and society at large from the negative repercussions divorce have. In this episode, we will be talking about what if divorce does occur, then who bears the responsibility of raising the children after divorce? How does divorce affect children? How do children of divorced parents look at us? How should the two parties communicate with each other after divorce? And what should be agreed upon in terms of raising them? And much more in this episode, inshallah. We will be gladly receiving your phone calls live here on Family Issues at the numbers appearing on the screen, and we will also be waiting for your comments and suggestions at our email familyissues@huda.tv. We'll be taking a short break now, and when we come back we will be introducing you to our distinguished guests and start our discussion right away, inshallah. Stay with us.
Never alone. You are never alone.
Ask Huda.
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of Ask Huda.
I have two questions.
Please go ahead. You can read it in Arabic and you can also understand the meaning in your own language. The different tafsir and the interpretation of the meanings of the Quran are available in almost every language that exists on earth by the grace of Allah. The water of Zamzam is for whatever intention you drink it with. Salih from Egypt, his father has the way, and he asked about how can he help him. Very good question.
Can they give a zakat to any of the dawah centers?
The ibadah or the act of worship is a part of the unity.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose whom He wills subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy, for His messengership, for the revelation to be revealed. This is not for the human beings to make that decision. If a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, truthfully, asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. We have as Muslims a duty, and that is to recite the book of Allah, to ponder over the verses, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to act according to the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything, but who would this mercy will be for? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to all mankind. So the ummah or the people of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are all mankind since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the day of judgment. Why waste our life without getting to know every verse in the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back. We have with us in this episode of Family Issues Mr. Hussein Fahmy, the personal and family coach. Mr. Hussein, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for being here, and Jazakumullahu khairan. As we talked in the previous episode about how to avoid a divorce so as to avoid its negative repercussions on the children, the father, the mother, and society at large. Once it does happen, what is the first step so we make sure of minimizing the negative influence on the children, first of all?
First of all, both parents has to realize that the responsibility is to raise the children within a good environment. So there is a mutual responsibility between the father and the mother toward their children, toward their actions, their behavior, their schools matters. So it's not upon one side or another. So also we have to be aware that it's not the fault of our children that we got separated. It has nothing to do with them. So we have to realize this responsibility and act upon it properly.
Generally speaking, what are the most common negative effects on the children if separation does occur?
For sure, children will feel torn apart because they won't see one of the parent as regular as they used to see him or her, and it will cause some depression, light to severe depression. It depends on the situations. That's why we want to let the children know that it's not their fault, because at this age they might think somehow that it has to do with the separation. They would maybe tend to feel guilty, lonely, that they are different from others. Why me? Why I don't have a father? Why I don't have a mother? We don't want the children to go through this. We want the separation, if it does happen, to go smooth, and to take care of any signs of depression and act accordingly in a professional way. Seek help from a psychiatrist or a counselor as soon as possible.
Right. Should the kids be prepared for this event if the husband and wife have already agreed?
Yes.
Even if they are young, I mean, starting from the age of what? Should the husband and wife sit with their kids and prepare them for the
I think from
phase?
the age of 5, when they start to realize that someone is not there in the house, because they start to reason. Why my father is not there, or why my mother is not there, and we have to communicate this to the child in a way that would not break his heart, because if suddenly he doesn't see his mother or father, for some children, especially if the child is attached to the parent somehow, it will be so harsh on him.
And most children are.
Yes.
So there should be this talk and this reassurance that you're going to see me a lot. Things will not change. I still love you. And so
stuff. There has to be an agreement. Once we decided that there has to be a separation, how we will see the children, how we will communicate to the children that we're not alone, and they have to see both parents are along in front of them. I mean, in good communication.
Even harmony. After separation?
Even after separation, even to act so that we are in harmony, or when we have good communication together, even if we are separated, just act maybe sometimes, if you have to, in front of the child, that everything is okay. Because at this age, the child needs the sense of security. It's very important for the child to feel secure at this age. When he loses it, he lose a lot.
This must be difficult for the parents themselves
Yes.
at this stage, because as we talked in the previous episode, that there are also negative repercussions on the father and the mother, on
For
the husband
sure.
and the wife. So it's not easy, you know, to sit together after separation, and as you said, they are asked to act
Yes.
if at least in front of their children, that things are still fine and that we can communicate. So if they still have to see each other, as you know, so they might as well had stayed together from the beginning.
We hope that the relationship, maybe after a few months or 1 year, they would decide to go back. If so, this happened, it would be great. If not,
How often does it happen that the pair return to each other after the first?
I cannot say a different figure, but there is always a room for coming back,
Right.
if there is a mutual respect. If we deal with each other respectfully and we appreciate each other, that maybe would bring the relationship back again. But in case not, we should deal as father and mother to our children and forget what happened between us as conflicts or struggles or problems. We have to put this aside and focus on the children, their future.
Right. We will be talking more, of course, and in depth about the children, the effects on the children, and how to raise them, and who should raise them, and how, and the way that the parents should see their children. Even you know, a father could see his children even if they stay with their mother, and vice versa. And regulations guiding this. But let's talk a bit, Mr. Hussam, if you will, about the effects on father and mother, the divorce effects.
For sure there is an effect for the father. If he is the one who is leaving the house, I think his heart would be torn, because he thinks that he wouldn't see his children as regular as before. I think he would struggle for a while, and maybe he would rethink about the divorce issue at this period. And some people come back because they realize that the children are precious,
struggling.
are struggling, and they're so precious to him, and he couldn't stay away from them for a while. But if this has to continue, I think after a while the father will adapt. As for the mother, also she has struggles, because from the point of view of the society, she's a divorced woman, and every woman wouldn't like to have this label, divorced woman. And she
in the West, though, it's not so sensitive as of an issue as it is
as in the Middle East.
Right.
People will start to wonder why this happened, especially the circle of friends and the family. Also, I think the wife would have more burden in regard to raising the children, because she's now alone, left alone, and not like before. It's a struggle, especially if she has a child or children at the age of 6 or 7. They will tend to have many needs in regard of school matters and other issues that she has to deal with alone. So it's not easy also for her.
And kids, of course, usually, I mean, always would need the affection of both. I mean, father and mother, that's just how Allah created us. What should the parents tell their children about their divorce? Should they tell them about the real reasons? Should they hide the reasons? How how should they address the issue?
I think they have to talk about it in a positive way, that what happened has to happen because this is for the sake of having a healthy environment. We're not getting along anymore, and but we, as parents, a father and a mother, we love you. We have to speak like this in front of children. We both love you, and I would recommend that both parents stay and speak like this in front of children, to meet together and explain this together to the children. It will be more powerful, more than if I speak about it as a father from my point of view, or as a mother from her point of view only. So to speak together, it will give it a sense of they will get the sense of security, that they still have the father and the mother figure, even though they are not living together. And we have to put many frames here with the children, that we both love you, and this had to happen for some reason. We don't have to go into the details, and we will set up how we will meet, how the children will see the father or the mother, and we will set up a frame for the communication.
And you stress that it would be better to meet also as a group later on, even after separation.
Yes.
The father, the mother, and the children.
Yes, always in groups, because if we don't meet, the child will also think that there is something wrong. So we should do it for the sake of our children, that we meet together somehow outside, in a public place maybe, or in a place of any of the family's house. For example, the grandparents would help at this, and act in front of the children as if we are still one family.
Right, but the party that is deprived of the children also has the right to see them alone, correct?
Yes.
I mean, probably the will be there.
Yes, we can do this. But I mean, like some events, some family events like birthdays or something like this, where all the family gather. The children would love to see both parents in such a gathering, because they would tend to compare themselves with others, with their friends who have both parents in their birthdays. So
right, of course, for those who do birthdays, because many don't do it out of
any family events.
Believing that, of course, that there are no special days except Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr al-Mubarak, and that these are the true Muslim days of celebrations and festivals. So in Ayad, it's recommended that
in family gatherings,
right,
both parents would I recommend that they show up in family gatherings, Ayad, for sure, because this will bring security to them, and will bring happiness and joy to see that their both parents are there.
Right. And now, how do usually children look at their divorced parents? Do they usually put the blame on one party? Will they tend to put the blame on the party they are not living with? How does it go most of the time?
If they're not sure who's to blame, they will put the blame on themselves. But if they see that the person who's creating troubles while they were still in one house, they would tend to put the blame on this parent. So that's why I always stress that parents should not discuss any issues in front of children. And this should be discussed secretly, privately, without the interference of children, or not in their presence, because this would affect the relationship between the child and the parent. So this is very important, because this will make the relationship a healthy relationship between the parent and the child, and will let the child avoid the pain of having to think who's to blame.
The pain will be there,
Yeah.
but at least we can minimize it, right?
Yes, we can minimize
the elderly can work to minimize it.
Yes.
How long does the pain usually is there before it gets cured?
It could take years. It could take less than years if the parents are good enough to communicate better and let the children see that they are getting along, they have good communications, and there is no problem that has to do with them.
Right.
It would be also better to show that the relationship between parents has gone better after the divorce. If you could do this in terms of communications, maybe they would see their parents dealing with each other more respectfully, more acceptance, appreciating each role in front of the child, seeing that we both deal with their matters in the right manner. That would make the child go through this
Indeed
very fast.
Indeed. And it must be, of course, important as well that both parents would avoid the common mistake of talking negatively about the other party, and Islam must forbid this. I mean,
yes, it's very important to talk positively about the other one in his absence, because I don't want the child to get a wrong model from us. We should be modeling the right attitude, the right way to communicate, the right way to deal with each other. And if the child sees that any of the parents is speaking negatively about the other side, what kind of image are you trying to convey?
Right. Allow us now, Mr. Hussein and dear brothers and sisters, to take a short break here on family issues. Do stay with us. There's still much more to come, inshallah.
Never alone. You are never alone.
Are you up to date with the latest gadgets and devices? Or do you get confused when someone even mentions the word computer? Conquer your fear and learn how to get the best out of the latest computer software, smartphones, and the latest cutting-edge technology by tuning into Tech Talk with Dr. Baha. All of this and more in Tech Talk, only on Huda TV. The Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, narrated that when Allah, glory be to him, wishes good for someone, he bestows upon him understanding of the religion, and that Allah makes the path to paradise easy for those who seek knowledge. Preoccupied by work or family in the modern world, a Muslim may struggle to find time for acquiring Islamic knowledge. To ease this struggle, we are launching Huda Academy to be your gateway to online Islamic e-learning.
Enroll now and study from our renowned scholars. Learn Aqidah from Dr. Muhammad Salah.
Learn Fiqh from Dr. Hatim Al-Hajj.
Learn Hadith from Dr. Muhammad Saeed.
Learn Tafsir from Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan.
And learn Arabic from our professional instructors.
Successful graduates of Huda Academy will go through a final test and eventually receive a certificate of completion.
To enroll and learn more about Huda Academy, please visit us online at hudaonlineacademy.com.
Huda Academy, your gateway to authentic Islamic knowledge.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back, dear brothers and sisters. We're still discussing here the rules guiding the raising up of children after divorce with Mr. Hussein Fahmy, family and personal and family coach. Mr. Hussein, is it usually tougher for boys or girls? The divorce, if it does occur, and which age is usually more critical for the children?
I think the age after the age of 5, where the child starts to reason what's happening, I think it would be difficult. When the child is younger than this, he's not really reasoning what's going on. Maybe he would reason somehow, but this is the age where I think that the child will start to reason that someone is not there.
Up to which age? I mean, surely if the kids are
5 and above,
are 20 something, not surely, but assumingly, it will be easier.
Yes.
So which age category is more critical, where the parents should really be focused and concentrating on?
Yes, I would say teenagers. This is the most critical period. That is that would make the child as a daughter or as a son suffer. Girls would, because we all know that girls are more emotional than boys, but also boys have this issue, especially with regard to the father model if he's not at the house, because he considered that it's very important for him to see his father as a model, because he likes to imitate him, he likes to act like him. This is his model. So imagine if he's not there, what kind of model he would seek. It's very important. Also for a daughter would suffer, because she's emotional, and maybe she's attached to the father, also would suffer from something like this.
Right.
So I cannot say exactly who will suffer more, but girls are more emotional than boys by nature. So maybe they will have more tendency to suffer from such a separation.
Right. And of course it would depend on the relationship itself, how it was and how it is between the parents and the children themselves.
Yes.
Some are so close that it would be harmful and might make thinking about how to avoid divorce from the very start a top priority, as we talked before in the previous episode. Mr. Hussein, dear brothers and sisters, we have with us now live over the phone Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad, renowned Muslim scholar and Huda TV presenter. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Haytham. Thanks for giving us your time, and jazakumullahu khairan. Sheikh Haytham, Sheikh Haytham, we're talking about the role, the responsibility the father and mother bear towards raising their children after divorce, if the divorce, abghadul halali and Allah, if it does occur. Tell us the rules, the guidelines Islam is setting for us. Who should bear the responsibility of raising the children? How should the two parties communicate? What should be agreed upon in terms of raising the children? Tell us the guidelines, please.
First of all, I would like really to thank Qanat al-Huda for addressing this important topic that I have never been in touch with any organization or any TV channel that has addressed it before. So Jazakumullah khairan, and Jazakumullah khair for Brother Muhammad and for your guest speaker as well. Now there are a few points. First of all, the key point is what Allah Jalla wa Ala says in the Quran, وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ.
Yes.
Allah Jalla wa Ala is addressing the father and the mother, the husband and the wife, once they are about to get divorced from each other. وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ. Don't forget the kindness and the goodness that you used to exercise to each other. And this is very important because what we see in most of the communities now, that once the husband divorces his wife, they become enemies. And as a result of this, the children suffer. And that's why Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ, means remain with each other, remembering the kindness that you used to have, and remain in a good kind of relationship. And this is the first and the most important advice.
Yes.
The father and the mother, they should remember that they are at the end of the day brothers and sisters in Islam, and both of them are the parents of the child. They should not act as enemies with each other. This is the first point.
Right.
The second point, the families, both families, the family of the father and the family of the mother should exercise and should put this ayah, should Quranic verse in practice. And they should not deal with each other as families, as enemies as well. This is the second thing. And this guides us to the third guideline, which is the upbringing of the child after divorce is a joint responsibility between the mother and the father.
Mm-hmm.
No one should think that it is his own responsibility, and the child has nothing to do with the other side. No, it is a joint responsibility. And here, through your channel, please let me address all parents, because I'm part of the Islamic Sharia Council and I know what is happening, unfortunately, in our community, the Muslim community. Please, my dear sister, my dear brother, if you divorce your wife, let us remember that the main people to suffer are the children. So if you try to maybe fill in the mind of your child that the other side is an enemy and he is the main reason for breaking up the marriage, this will cause many harms for your child. Don't think that you are doing good for your child. You are corrupting your child's mind. You are damaging his upbringing. We should remember this as well.
Yes.
Moreover, the divorce is one thing, and the upbringing of the child is another thing.
Right.
So maybe I divorced my wife, I could not live with her, but I should remember that Allah Jalla wa Ala said to me, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِكُمْ نَارًا. How to protect my child from the fire of hell. I should remember that he needs his mother. His mother should remember that he needs me. A child who is brought up with either a male or a female only is not a normal child. So both parents should remember this as well. It's very important.
Yes.
Also, if the divorce, once the divorce takes place, it doesn't mean that we stop communicating regarding the upbringing and the future of the child. This is another important guideline. Another important guideline, no one should use this child as an agent for him. What did your mother do? Or the mother is asking the child, what did your father do? What did you go with your father? What did he say about me? What did he say about my family? This is not allowed because this is a gossip. This is haram.
Yes. Sheikh Haytham, are there, barakallahu feekum, very, very, very useful advices, jazakumullah khairan, any rule, any guideline told to us by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or relayed by the Prophet, peace be upon him, via the Holy Quran, Allah's words, on who should get the priority in keeping the children, or is it left up to to circumstances, to the financial capabilities, to the social talents? I mean, Yeah.
Yeah, see, from a Sharia perspective, the custody of the child, yeah, generally speaking, if the child is below the age of puberty,
Yes.
goes to the mother, provided that she does not marry to a stranger man. So the custody of the child goes to the mother, generally speaking. However, once we say that the custody of the child goes to the mother, it doesn't mean that the father will have no access to the child.
Of course.
And it doesn't mean that the mother should stop the father from having any access or regular access to his child.
Of course.
However, after the age of puberty, of course, different school of thought, they have some variations or some different opinions, but generally speaking, after the age of puberty, the daughter should go to her father because she will be ready for marriage, and the father will be her wali and her mahram. The boy will be consulted whether he likes to go to his father or he likes to remain with his mother. The Prophet ﷺ said in one incident to the mother, she was complaining, and she said that I gave birth to this child. I was pregnant with this child for number of months, and I gave birth to him, and then I breastfeed him, and now the father wants to take him after divorce. So the Prophet ﷺ said to her, "Anti ahaqqu bihi ma lam tankihi." You are more deserving in taking care of your child as you do not marry to someone else.
Yes.
Now, if the mother got married to someone else, then the custody of the child goes to her mother, not to the father immediately. Why? Because the mother is more kind and more caring for the baby.
Yes.
And the mother of the mother even is more kind and more caring for the baby when he is, for the child when he is before the age of puberty.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad, a renowned Muslim scholar and Huda TV presenter, as always, for your precious input. Jazakumullahu khairan, Sheikh Haytham, and looking forward to talk to you, inshallah, in upcoming episodes of Family Issues. Mr. Hussein, very important points here. ولا تنسوا الفضل بينكم. And that the fact that the parents should remember, as you mentioned in your earlier speech, should communicate well even after a separation, after divorce, and should not be enemies, should never be enemies. And nobody should fall into the trap, the common terrible mistake of talking negatively about the other partner. Not only does it leave a bad model, but as Sheikh Haytham explained, it's gossip as well, and it's destructive.
Very destructive.
For all sides.
Yes, I agree with him. I totally agree with what he said. Because, as I said before, children will take us as models. Also, we have to be very careful that we should be congruent to what we do. By congruency, I mean that we walk our talk, or leading by example. So if I say something, I don't do the opposite thing. I should be the right model for our children. So it's very important to see this.
It builds negative emotions.
Yes, build negative emotions, and it builds negative images about both parents, not only one of them, because we are the models. And imagine that the child doesn't have the right model inside home.
And the model doesn't have to be from the same sex, correct? Because, I mean, a boy could have his father as a model, and also his mother as well, and vice versa.
Yes. It's very important, because if the child, if the child doesn't see his parents as good models to him, he will start to seek other models. And by going to other models, he might choose the bad models for himself, and this would bring unhealthy childhood, and children will tend to go away from the right path, maybe.
And this is where in the previous episode the talk came about the negative repercussions, potentially the negative repercussions of divorce on society at large. Sheikh Haytham talked about the joint responsibility. You also stressed upon it earlier, that it's not because the children are living with party A that party B is not responsible. And it's not only about financing, correct? I mean, if you're the father and the children are staying with their mother, what is exactly your role, other, of course, than your financial obligations and duties towards your children?
My role is to be a guider. I should be a model and someone who the child would go and seek advice, because I need to be not just a parent. The relationship should be that we sometimes has to act as friends in order for the child to let his problems, his concerns out. We should talk to him as a friend, as a close friend, and we should also guide him not by doing so, you should do this and should not do this and this, but also give him the reason why should you do this and why should you do this. So, for example, you can tell stories, some metaphors about peoples who have done so and so and so, and they have done so and so because this is the right thing to do. Not because you have to do this. It's because when you do this, maybe you get hasanat from Allah. Allah yarda annak. You get appraisals. So show him how others in their path have done this correctly. So I want my children to express themselves in a way that would not let them feel that I ripped them from choice. They have to have the choice to choose what path they want to do in the frame of acceptance and the frame of our religion and cultures.
On that note, unfortunately, we have to end it here, Mr. Hussain. That's all the time we have. I believe we still have much more to talk about in this issue, and that's up for upcoming episodes, inshallah. On behalf of you, dear brothers and sisters, we thank very much Mr. Hussain Fahmy, personal and family coach. Jazakumullah khairan, barakallahu feekum, Mr. Hussain. And we also thank, of course, on behalf of you, dear brothers and sisters, Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad for his input with us, as always, here on Family Issues. Don't forget to email us at familyissues@huda.tv. Again, familyissues@huda.tv if you have any comments or suggestions for us. Thank you for watching us. Next week, same time, inshallah, is our next meeting here on Family Issues. Until we meet again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Never alone, you are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone. So now, as you long for your past, prepare for your future, but knowing nothing's gonna last. You see, this life is but a road, a straight and narrow path to our final abode. So travel well, O Muslim, and paradise will be your home. And always remember that you are never alone.